match with a match right in front of your mask, that mask is worthless. It's not helping you at all. And here's another thing. It's to be discarded. I mean, by OSHA standards, you cannot wear a mask more than 5 hours on specific jobs in different factories. And my dad was saying how if the mask is not properly used, it's actually worse to use the mask because you have all this infection going on there. You got people that are wearing it like this, and they put it on their neck, they put it on their head, they take it out and stick it in their pocket, and they've been wearing the same mask for weeks, and it's actually counterproductive. Plus, if they're breathing their own carbon dioxide, and they're already medically impaired, they have allergies, or they have asthma, it could actually be dangerous to them. So, all that to say, there is no magic pill that is going to save you from anything.
Right. Yeah, and what we do have is an immune system that God gave us that will naturally filter, and it's doing its job. It has to be exposed to things coming in through our nose and mouth that our body can regulate and create immunities, and know how to work. It's like going to the gym and working out. And if you work out once, you're sore, you work out again, and you get stronger. Our immune system, stuff comes in, and we learn to fight it. Our immune system gets stronger. And so we're actually weakening our immune system if we're not allowing it to work. There's other risks with molds and other toxins and things from just reusing these masks.
We talked about it on a previous video about how when a baby's born, you don't put him in a bubble wrap. And don't let them touch anything. Actually, if you got a toddler, we have 6 kids, what do? They're crawling all over the place, they're touching things, they're sticking them in their hands. Their body's actually strengthening itself. One of the centers of your immune system is your intestinal flora, your gut, right? Which has bacteria, good bacteria. You need to come in contact with viruses and bacteria because your organism is working out. We talked about it on previous lives. Start sleeping 8 hours a day. Start drinking clean water. Start getting rid of junk, of dead foods, sodas, energy drinks, foods that are highly processed with ingredients you can't pronounce. You're poisoning your body. Start exercising. Start breathing. And that's another problem that experts have said. Stay home. Stay home when it's healthier to be actually outside.
Yeah, before the summer, we were told that, the virus can't live in temperatures, I think, over 70 degrees. And if you're outside, the probability, the possibility of contracting the virus is so low. And yet we continue to use a fear tactic, or we're being given we're being fed fear to say, don't be outside. I know, I'm thankful that we don't live right in a city, but, this lady lives in New York City and said that, people, if you don't have a mask on when you're walking outside, people are running away from you.
Cussing you out.
Yeah, because they feel like you're not being careful. And it's really sad what's happening. Because like you said, if we really care about people, we're going to help them be healthier by talking about things like, hey, let's work on our diet. Let's exercise. Are you getting the rest that you need?
Yeah, why are we not talking about that? Proactively changing our lifestyle, not just having a magic mask. The media have been equally, I quote, uninterested in the scientific evidence regarding outdoor transmission. Coronavirus infections require what Japan calls the 3 C's: confined spaces, crowded places, and close contact. The fleeting encounters on sidewalks and public parks that characterize much of the city life simply do not result in transmission. This morning I was riding my bike with my 2 younger boys and our dog on the trails close to where we live, and a family walked by, and they will all have these rags covering their mouths as they're walking in nature instead of breathing in the air. And when we rode by, especially putting their mask and looked the other way, it's a total lack of understanding of how the immune system works and how the transmission of this disease works that only affects a small percentage of the population.
We just want people, the purpose in talking about this isn't to divide us more. It's to say, hey, let's live without fear. Let's help our economy. Let's go to these businesses. Let's go out to eat. I mean, Cesar and I went out to eat. We put on the mask. We went and sat down. We take off the mask. But it makes no sense. I mean, if you're going to take off the mask and you realize that you're trusting that they're making your food, they're touching your plate, they're giving it to you, like there's so much happening, but I want people to know that's okay. It's all right. Live. Go out to eat. Go enjoy nature. Go to the beach, and help other people understand that they don't have to live in fear.
Yes. On the other video, we talked about the numbers, how the flu, this compares to the flu. In 2017, I think it was the highest number of deaths that we had in the U.S. by the flu, 85,000. 2 years later, they came back and they said, actually, there were a lot of comorbidities and other factors. It was 60,000. Same way, this has been inflated, but let me just read this briefly here. While the U.S. death toll from the coronavirus has been demographically circumscribed and lower than the previous flu pandemics of 1968, 1956, and 1918, when adjusted for population, the economic toll has cut across every sector of the country in every population group. Whole industries have seen their capital wiped out overnight. And that's a problem. Leaders, political leaders, health leaders, and media outlet leaders, they are considered essential business, so they are not affected. They're not in jeopardy of losing their jobs. So they can say, hey, let's shut down the economy and see what happens, without understanding that you can't just magically restart it again. Check this out. Despite a better than expected employment report in early June, the long-term effects of the shutdowns and the continuing mandates to socially distance will prevent a full economic recovery for years to come. 44 million Americans are still out of work. Supply chains have been thrown into chaos. Fresh fruits and vegetables are being plowed under and livestock burned uneaten for lack of access to processing plants in markets. Small businessmen and women who have put their life savings into creating a service that customers want have seen their hard work go up in smoke. Without rent for the retail tenants, commercial landlords can't pay their taxes. City budgets have been decimated. The additional $8 trillion in public debt taken on to try to substitute for the private economy will depress opportunity for generations. There was an oversight, a huge oversight, an oversimplification, saying nothing's going to happen. We'll just shut down. We're going to give stimulus checks for a short period of time. We're going to go into debt, which we know that the printing of money just creates more inflation. And then magically, when we're ready, we'll come out. And it's being used as a political tool to not re-elect a candidate or to elect a new candidate.
Yeah, and then, can I bring up the other problem that's going on in the United States? We talk about being divided. And as soon as it seemed like, people were getting less fearful about the coronavirus, we had the incident with racism with George Floyd and a terrible death, and a situation where we all do not want, but what happened? I just want to look at, here we've been saying we can't gather, churches stopped gathering, everyone stopped getting together, and then we had protests going on, and all of a sudden, whereas you can't go to church and be with more than just different numbers in different states, but 50 people, 100 people, but you can be in a protest with thousands of people, and just that things aren't making sense,
Hello, double standard. So those are the points, right? They're saying, hey, be careful with this deadly virus to all of the population, but it is affecting the economy. But now this terrible situation took place, and millions of people want to go out and protest, and all of a sudden there's a double standard. I'm going to quote again here. Anyone who warned that the effects of the lockdowns would be more devastating than anything the coronavirus could inflict was accused of being a heartless capitalist who only cared about profits. But to care about the economy is to care about human life, since the economy is how life is sustained. To the workers of a particular business, that business is essential. In May, politicians started inviting few scattered sectors of the economies to open, arbitrarily deciding again which one should open